Yes, sorry guys. Yes, guys, we're back again for the preview to the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. It is the title decider. The title decider. Yes, mate. It is the 2021 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. It is after 22 races. We are down to 23 drivers, right? We are down to Max Verstappen. We're down to the 23rd and final race with Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton both on equal points. So it's a one race shootout. Whoever comes out on top wins the Grand Prix. And so far, Mercedes have dominated the session, I believe. They've dominated it so far. The most important session, I'd say. The most important session, I would say, is the second session, FP2, where when I say for the second session, I believe it's the most how do I put it? It's the practice session where it's going to have the race and qualifying conditions implied. Basically, it's in the twilight conditions where the temperatures are cooler, engine temps are cooler, everything's going to be in like towards. That's why they do their race sim in quali. So yeah, they do their race sim in quali. They also do probably try and get as much running as they can in FP2. Like, so it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting how it plays out. But at the moment, Hamilton has the edge over and Mercedes have the edge over Red Bull. So whatever they've managed to do, Hamilton and Mercedes, they've pulled it out the bag. They really have pulled it out the bag in these last races and been the quicker of them all. So yeah, it's all to play for, man. It's all to play for. Let's have a look at the FP1. Max heads into the weekend, and the Dutch got off his weekend to the best spot, heading first. Lewis Hamilton took practice feed. So yeah, in the hotter conditions, what it looks like is in the hotter conditions, it does look like the Mercedes is slower than the Red Bull. In the cooler conditions, it looks like the Mercedes is quicker than the Red Bull. It shows to everyone who doesn't follow F1 particularly well that the temperatures have a very desired effect on how the cars perform. As the cooler temperatures can suit how the tires work on one car, it can't suit on another. And on a Mercedes, it looks like it can suit on the Mercedes. It looks like that the conditions are better when it's most cooler. It's been like that for most of the season. That's why you've probably seen in Bahrain, for example, in the dry sessions, in the hot conditions, if FP1 and FP3, Verstappen was clear ahead of Hamilton, and then Hamilton was maybe only a little bit behind in FP2 in the cooler conditions, and then because he was only a little bit behind, he could make the difference. So, like, it's yes, like I said, it's not a slam dunk because like Max can still quite easily pull a lap out the bag. I'm trying to look at some of the news at the minute. So let me try and look at some of the news. So let me have a look at the. Yeah, so actually Verstappen, if you look at Verstappen's lap, he was 6/10 off in FP2. That's huge. That's huge. If he can't possibly stop that and change that, then it's game over. It's game over. Like, Blues Podcast, I hope you're well, mate. Big up. All right, Stephen, can't wait. Big up, George, man. Yeah, man, it's gonna be an epic. Big up, Brittany. Don't know what you mean by that. But yeah, big up. Make sure you smash the like on the video, smash the subscribe button as well, if you can. Max Verstappen says he's treated differently versus Lewis. Well, if you don't brake test anyone before the last bloody corner, mate, maybe you wouldn't be treated so differently. If you race everyone else races in F1, you maybe and just like did it because you are outstandingly quick. You don't have to act the way you do, like, but you do because like you just can't accept it in your head when you are beaten. Right? You can be you're as fast as anyone out there, right? I'm sorry that he is as quick as like he is an outstandingly quick driver. Pulls laps out the bag like there's no tomorrow. Like, big up Scott. I'll do have to mention my name's with a V, not a PH, but big up, mate. I hope you're well. Like, it's like I said, is that you don't have to act the way you act, which is brake testing people in the middle of the circuit. I just saw some guy on Twitter make up a compilation of Hamilton's accidents throughout his career. If you go through everyone in the sport that's been as long as Hamilton is, if you bring up Vettel, for example, you could bring up tons of incidents that he's had. He's even had an accident under the safety car, which Lewis Hamilton's never done. There's plenty of incidents where he's gone in and got it wrong. Same as who else has been in that lot? Alonso's had plenty of accidents, right? Button had plenty of accidents. Rosberg had plenty of accidents. He deliberately drove into Hamilton to win his time in Austria to win a title, right? So, like, but we got to try and make Hamilton look like the bad guy. The reason Verstappen looks like the bad guy, mate, right? And if the guys on Twitter's now watching me, I don't care, right? The reason he looks like the bad guy, mate, is because I have never seen a driver try and brake test someone in the middle of the circuit. In the middle of the circuit. He was in the middle of the circuit. He was twitching left and right. He's only been told that he has to slow down. So Hamilton's got no idea what the situation is. He knows what Verstappen's like, right? So he's skeptical of going past him. And then he brake tests him. Slam dunk. Because the telemetry said so. Right? That last race was a joke. It was a joke. He literally, if you seen what he did in Brazil, steaming up the inside with no intention of making a corner, because that wasn't punished, he then thought that perfectly legitimate. So again, he did it in Saudi Arabia again and again and again and again. That is why you punish drivers for stupid moves like he did in Brazil. Like, that's why you punish drivers for what they did in Brazil. Because if you don't, they do it again and they do it again. And they do it to a point where it's going to cause an accident. And that was exactly what Verstappen was trying to do throughout that whole Grand Prix. That's my only way I can think of it. The first restart, Hamilton was here. Verstappen was here. He was nowhere near him. So the only way he was going to overtake him is if he completely outbraked himself and never made the corner. and then cut across the whole cut across the whole runoff area, which is why I don't believe in runoff areas, to then cut across in front of Ocon to avoid an accident. They then had to cut off Hamilton to avoid an accident. They've all had to slow down to literally stop to accommodate for Max coming back on the circuit, which in turn backs the whole grid up. And then you see what happened in the midfield after that. They're all in the same area, but load it or not, Leclerc tags Perez. Perez ends in the wall. And then Nikita Mazepin can't see why everyone's braked, right? And there's obviously no brakes on an F1 car, so we don't know they've broke. Goes steaming up the inside of Russell. All because Max Verstappen had to outbrake himself and then cut across the runoff area, right? Just so he can stay in the lead. Because he knew he wasn't as quick. Right? And anyone celebrating what Max Verstappen was doing in that Grand Prix is a disgrace. And shouldn't watch the sport, because it goes against the safety standards, right? And driving standards in Formula One. Can you imagine someone in F2 and F3 as a young kid watching that, thinking that's acceptable? I get hard racing. Hamilton does hard racing, and at times there is going to be a touch, right? This guy's making a compilation about when he touched with Albon and when he touched with Webber in 2010. Don't forget, in 2010, it was only his 4th season in Formula One. He was still a young kid. So he's going to make those mistakes. Hamilton's made the same mistakes that Verstappen's making now. But the only thing Hamilton has not done is deliberately try and run people off the road or deliberately try and take people out, like Verstappen tried to do. Also, not deliberately leave the pit lane, right, when someone's coming down the fast lane of the pit lane and nearly take out the mechanics. In the lane that's supposed to separate the car from the mechanics. But there you go. You know what I mean? Last race was farcical with Verstappen and Hamilton, especially the conversation that was not relayed to Hamilton before the crash incident. Apologise. No, it's no ways, man. Yeah, it was an absolute joke. You should tell the driver behind what's going to happen in front of him first. Surely. Like, the FIA have lost their way since losing Charlie Whiting, God rest him. If Charlie Whiting was watching that Grand Prix, he'd turn in his grave. He'd be probably slapping Massey around the face and what the fuck are you doing? He hasn't got a clue what he's doing. It's like the Premier League referee. They ain't got a clue what it is. You're sitting there in the pit lane with Verstappen first, negotiating. Oh, could you start second? Like, because you cut the corner. Oh no, they forgot Ocon's first, and he cut across Hamilton. So then, like, and they're saying we're happy to remain, like, and then they said, well, actually, Ocon's second. You'll have to start third behind Hamilton. And then Red Bull's like, oh yeah, we're happy to start behind Hamilton as long as Ocon's first. And I'm like, why are you negotiating what penalty you're given? That's not going to a referee in football saying, like, okay, you fouled in the box, right? But do you want a penalty or do you want a free kick? It's a joke. It's a joke. You should be telling them you're starting third, whether you like it or not. Right? So you either start third, right, or we take it to the stewards. You don't negotiate. There's no negotiations at all. That is a joke, right? And I don't blame the way Toto Wolff kept his tongue, like, bitten after that race is astonishing, and big up to him for that, because unlike Horner, who quite happily sits there and goes, like all Red Bull fans and Max Verstappen fans do, not all Red Bull fans actually, because there are some that are quite genuine, but there are some fans that are so up themselves with their team, they quite believe what Horner says every time. So like Horner straight on the attack. Oh, it's all well nice. How did Hamilton not see it? This, that, and all the other. He doesn't ever blame Max for anything that he did. Not a thing. Not a thing. If I was his dad, I would have slapped him on the face and said, "How dare you do something like that? How dare you behave in that way? I didn't teach you to drive like that. I didn't teach you to drive like that at all. I expect hard racing, but that's a joke." But then probably dad's got no control of him because Max Verstappen's done more than his dad in the sport. But there you go. Right? Jos Verstappen's only famous for one reason, that fire in 1994. It's the only reason he's famous, to be honest. Just sub to you, mate. Love Formula One. Can't wait for the big one. It's 50-50. Mate, if you want to watch me on a watch along, mate, I get absolutely passionate with a rage at times. I'm very passionate about the sport. So you've come to the right place. And if you need any help with any of technical regulations, like especially when it comes to the new regs in 2022, because they are going to be complicated of how they benefit the new car, then make sure you tune in. I'm hoping to start a separate F1 channel in the new year, so it will all move to a new channel. But I'll let you all know of that, and you can all go sub to it when I'm got it good and up and running. So yeah, like I'll have more time once the season's finished to sort out logos, overlays, shit like that. So yeah, well, I will definitely let you know. Steven, do you think most Red Bull fans are Arsenal fans in disguise? Oh, come on, man. Like, I get your point, but like, I'm not like, come on, like, I don't. They're not that delusional. They're not that delusional. Like, Brethren John, he's a Red Bull fan. He came on and he said he was disgusted with the way that went down that last race. Like, everyone, like he said he was voted. You know what's funny is Max Verstappen said he was voted because he was voted driver of the day. He was coming out saying like, "Oh yeah, look at me, look." Yeah, he was coming out and saying that yeah, well, at least these fans know about racing, right? This ain't Formula One. This is like all about penalties. It's all about penalties, mate, because you just take it one step too far. You can have the hard racing without the penalties. Watch Kimi Raikkonen, for example. Like, he makes you hard to overtake, right? But in the end, it's fair, hard racing, right? What you do is to a completely wrong new level. Simple. So, yeah. Like, I literally tweeted to Max Verstappen, I don't care if he didn't see it, and said, "You're nothing but a disgrace and a cheat. You are. I don't care. I'll say it as it is. It's a cheat. It's nothing but a cheat. And I will not, even if he wins the title this season and beats him, if he beats him this weekend, if he beats Hamilton this weekend, even fairly, if he does it fairly with better strategy, which the only way they can do it, because at the minute they don't look quick enough. Even if they did, I wouldn't accept it. And do you know why? People might say I'm bitter, but after what I've seen this season, and especially in that last Grand Prix, the way he's acted as well, blaming Hamilton every 5 minutes, right? Not even checking he was okay in Monza. I just had a guy at this guy like as well, right? What did he do in Monza, mate? He nearly took Hamilton's head off. If that halo wasn't there, he would have taken Hamilton's head off and Hamilton would have been dead. Right? And what you all said then, oh, it's Lewis's fault for not leaving the space. Well, you didn't leave in the space at turn 1 at turn 4 at lap 1. So Hamilton gave you the same back. Right? The same as I think he gave someone else and they actually pulled out, which is what all drivers would do. You had no right to go down the inside at that point. Each closed the door. bit like what you did at turn 4 at lap 1. So, like, I'm sorry, it's a joke. It's a joke. Like, and what did he come on and say? He didn't come on and check if he was okay. He just came on and said, "Oh, that's what happens when you don't leave the space." Immediately bitchy, blame it on someone else. Same as Horner. Horner, he quite literally tried to have Hamilton booked even worse than he was booked in Britain because he went on still to win it. Like, though that was the harshest penalty they could give him, a 10-second penalty. Like, he could accept that. He's still trying to spend 2 weeks in the simulator with Alex Albon just to try and get a penalty, a bigger grid penalty for Hamilton for something that happened in the last race, right? I'm sorry. That's again the way Horner's acted as well has made him look like a complete twat as well. I used to have respect for Red Bull. I don't have any respect for that team now because of its team principal and also its owner, because he doesn't know what he's talking about either. Like, Christian Horner, honestly, he needs to rethink what he's done this year as well. You tried to have a guy and drag Hamilton's name through the mud, like calling him out on that incident, and all the while during that, like, and no, you sent out a statement after it later, while you were calling him out, saying how much of a dirty driver he is, and then also saying that's not a penalty, we're going to try and get something else, like, which you did over the next 2 weeks. You all knew during those 2 weeks Hamilton was getting racial abuse from that accident, right? But then you wanted to drag his name further through the mud, which so forth that in Hungary qualifying, you then mentioned as saying some sportsmanship by Hamilton slowing everyone down, which is what everyone does to create room. So much so that then Hamilton gets more abuse on that Saturday. Horner needs to evaluate himself. He really does. Honestly, because I don't think anyone likes him anymore. Like, I think everyone's got more respect for Mercedes and Toto Wolff now. The thing that is, there has been plenty of drivers in the past that have been very reckless in the past. One of that I remember is Michael Schumacher. As much as a class, yeah, he was. Did he not take out Damon Hill? Yeah, he did. Damon Hill out for a title-winning decision. Yeah, that's what they've said this season. They've said already this season, mate. If it comes down to Max Verstappen, saying of all the piece, because everyone's been saying this of what happened in Saudi Arabia, everyone's been saying what could happen in 1990 because of the fact of Max having the extra win, especially that the Mercedes is faster in colder conditions, which is proven to be 0.6 faster, right? And that's a massive gap to make up, right? And he knows it. So his best opportunity is to turn 1, right? And what I see, I could honestly see Hamilton, if Hamilton gets so far ahead, I don't think he really cares of how much he gets ahead. I do see Max going so far deep into turn 1, he takes Hamilton out. That's why they've said in the press conference and also to the press, if basically that happens, because he ain't going to expect, why would Lewis want to do it? He needs his car fully fit to win the race. He needs to win the race. He needs to finish ahead of Verstappen. He needs to be in the points. Because if he doesn't score points and Verstappen doesn't score points in the race, though they're still running, Verstappen wins because of the extra win. So he needs to outscore him. Right? Simple. So why would Lewis want to do it? Of course not. So why would he want to damage his car? He ain't going to do that. So, yeah. So for me, it's more about will Max do actually will Max do what Senna did in 1990? Because Lewis Hamilton will be on the outside of the grid, right? If he's on pole, and Max will be on the inside. bit like Senna was on the inside of Prost, who was on the outside in 1990, because he cut across him and came. They swapped ways basically. Well, no, actually, no, because Prost was on the outside, wasn't it? Because there was a vast kerfuffle about it. But yeah. So like, I actually do think. No, I do. Well, hang on a minute. What was that just there? No, he's not. Just because. Right. So, like, oh Jesus Christ! From what I've just read, there's 2 reprimands Hamilton's got so far. Apparently, if he gets another reprimand, he could get a 10th place grid drop. So let's just hope he doesn't do anything stupid. Like, I'm sure he won't. I'm sure, like, Mercedes have told him, and obviously what happened in Jeddah, they've gone and talked away about it, and they're going to make sure that he doesn't get into trouble at any 6 point. He's got so far through Friday, there's been no problems. So, like, yeah. So I don't see any problems in that end. Yeah. Yeah, I do also feel is and the other thing I said is the FIA have said if an accident does happen between the 2 of them, say like, which I only think it will be caused by Verstappen, because Hamilton obviously needs to score points more, needs to score more points than Verstappen, right? So if it's going to come from anywhere, it's going to come from Max. If Max does take out Lewis deliberate, like to win the championship, then they will deduct points. Well, actually, to be honest, they should stick to the rule they set out to Schumacher in '97, which is disqualification. So there we are. Going live at we know you're going live at 9, Luca. You said on the preview, mate. Right, cool. And yeah, thanks for keep up, mate. Always keep it up. I have more passion for this than football right now. Or does Bottas get given the tactical nod to take? That's another point. I won't blame him. Like, just do what he did in Hungary. Like, Hamilton gets clean away in turn 1. Like, and then he just bang, smacked. Like, I'm not saying anything. Wait, all I'm gonna say is as the last thing for just gonna hang on, just gonna quickly hang on. Hang on. Right. I'm just going to quickly show this. I can quickly probably show about 2 seconds of this. Right. So I'm going to just quickly show it. It's James. That's all I'm going to show. Valtteri, it's James. For the last time in Formula 1, Like it will be Valtteri is James, take out Verstappen. Like Operation, like take Operation Red Bull does not give you wings. Like something like that. Or do you remember Germany 2010? Fernando is faster than you. Can you confirm you understood that message? How was that more obvious? That was the team order when they were banned. Is unreal. But then, like, you can look throughout the team, and there's been loads of team orders because, like, who gets to drive the car first? Who gets to burst packages first? You know what I mean? So, like, I'm gonna go for last ditch time. I'm going for. I will put everyone in the chat. Who's gonna be your driver of the weekend? Right, let me know in the chat. Right, and don't just think Hamilton or Verstappen. Like, just think of like someone else as well, because someone else could have a quality drive. Ocon was second, by the way. Ocon was second with Bottas third. So maybe Ocon could have a stellar weekend, loving the cool conditions. So, I mean, I know I just said like everyone try not to go with the most like obvious choices. Like, but I do want it to be like Hamilton because I want him to put a stellar drive in. But like, I want him to be honest. Like, I'd rather the driver of the day driver of the weekend goes to. I'd like to see Ocon get it again because he's been quality so far in FP1 and FP2. So I'd like to see him get it, and I would love to see. Do you know what, Scott? You say Vettel. Vettel had a spin in FP1. Weren't really like the conditions. Norris might have a good run, but that is a bit little too late for McLaren. I'd like to. The only reason I said Ocon is because he favours the conditions in FP2, which is going to be the race and qualifying conditions. So I'd say him. I'd take him. So yeah, I'd say him. My team of the weekend. What a surprise! I'm going to pick Red Bull. To be honest, I'd rather it not be Mercedes. The reason I'm saying I'd rather it not be Hamilton or Mercedes is because I want Hamilton to take pole position like he usually does. Like when it's usually a Hamilton bore fest when he takes the lead, pulls away, and then you never see him again. I want him to see that. I want to see that. I want to see the most boring F1 Hamilton race win ever. That's all I want to see. I don't want any tight, like, they both spin at lap one. Like, they both have to pit after lap one. Like, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that at all. No way. Like, I just want the most boring. I just want the most boring race possible for me. Most boring race possible for them for Mercedes and Hamilton. I would say Ferrari, yeah. But then if I'm going for Ocon, I'd have to go for Alpine again. Like, they've been quality the last few races. Qatar, Saudi Arabia, they've been quality. I've got to give it to Alpine, man. I want to put a far better saying Alpine. But like, so Scott's going for Ferrari. We'll do a race weekend with you, and we'll come back and see like if we were right or wrong. If everyone does put their predictions watching it, do so. Yeah, yeah. We'll wait. Yeah, team in a weekend. Yeah, but I'd hate this team the most. Ferrari. I can't really hate Ferrari in a sense. I know they were my rivals in 2017 and 18, but I was a Schumacher fan. They were the ones that got me into the sport, to be honest. My mum got me started watching it, and then because I like the colour red, which is why I didn't support. It's one of the main reasons I supported Arsenal. Like, cause it was the first team I saw in red, and it was London, and it was my dad. So my dad was not a Gooner, so I was pretty much a Gooner from there on. But I also since then I like the colour red, and like I Yeah, so obviously Schumacher and his red helmet in the Ferrari was winning, so that's the reason I got into it. I've been hooked ever since. Even in 2014, I knew about these new engines coming back in 2012 that were coming in for 2014. And when I first heard the engine noise, I was like, no, I'm not watching this again. If they're going to do this, no way. No. And like, I saw the start of the season, it was so quiet, it was unreal. You had to go to the TV to hear it. I can hear the car just. Now there's so much better because they've got like they've got like a xylophone on the back of their exhaust. The exhaust looks like a xylophone to project the sound better. Plus, they've also got microphones. Here's the actual thing: people don't know this. They increased in volume because of the engine or the power unit itself. The power unit's the same as it was in 2014. Still produces the same amount of revs and everything. Because higher the revs, the more probably sound it makes. But the reason being is because what they've done is projected the sound by making exhaust look like a xylophone, so it projects the sound better. And also, what they've done is they've put microphones, really, really, really loud microphones, all the way around the edge of the circuit, on the TV cameras, on the on any of the cameras hanging over the circuit. I know there's one in Silverstone that runs along across the last corner to the old pit lane. Like loads of they have loads of cameras everywhere, and they'd have microphones on the end of them. So wherever they could stick a microphone to project the sound, they put it on. That's why also you get with the sound a loud noise from the crowd, because the crowd's obviously near these microphones. So, and it's kind of nice in a way, because I know I like the old engine, and nothing's going to beat the sound of the V10s or the V8s, right, that I grew up in. But it's kind of nice sometimes hearing the V6 turbo power units, electrical power units, with also the noise of the crowd. So yeah, I do like that in a sense, which is why when we had COVID, it was kind of missed. So like, because like in Monza, like when Leclerc was leading and when Kimi was leading before Hamilton overtook him, like when he retook him, I think he overtook him into turn 1, and then overtook him into turn 4. The roar of the crowd, I think it was in like the 2018 montage. If you look on YouTube, type in F1 2018 montage on F1, like you could hear it, like the F1 track. It was mad. So, but yeah, I'm waffling now. That's what I usually do with F1. I start waffling. But yeah, I agree with you. Alpine have been well all season, same with yeah. The McLaren have let me down in a little ways. I think they've been better last season than they were this season, to be honest. I know they've won a Grand Prix, but they were more consistent this season than they were last season. Both drivers were consistently good. And let me have a look at the Constructors' Championship last season. So, like 2020. So they had 202 points with Racing Point 195 in the freeway battle, weren't they? And then Renault 181, Ferrari 131. Now McLaren have got they've improved. They've got 269. Okay. But then you could say, well, I'm not really going to count it. I don't really say they've improved because they've had more races. They've had 5 more races, and they've only got 69 more points. So yeah, like they should be where Ferrari are, 307. So talk MUFX. Oh, it's my second account. Lock down, man. Okay. Right. I love to see George Russell and Norris in the Mercedes car in 23, 24. season or before if possible. I don't think they would. I think Lando's staying with McLaren long term. He's already signed. I think he signed in Monaco a 7-year deal, a 5 to 7 year deal. So I don't think that's happening anytime soon. So you got 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. So not till 2026, 27, 28, something like that. When about then? George Russell will be in Mercedes obviously next year, 2 years, and then Hamilton drops out, and it's whoever comes from there. Like, I don't think Lando Norris will get it unless Mercedes really offer them. But then, to be fair, Scott, we all say about George Russell being a Mercedes next year. We don't know whether Mercedes are going to be the quickest next year, or we don't know if Red Bull are going to be the quickest next year, because the cars are completely different. It's a complete reset. That's why this Mercedes, I tried to win this title on the cheap and spent hardly anything on this car and tried to just make it work with what they got. Right? Which is why Red Bull should have really walked away with this championship, especially when it turned up with 2 trucks of upgrades in 2020 in Austria. So, like, the fact that they managed to get back to it into level pegging is unreal. I think you should do F1 game streams. I think it would be good. I did at one point. I just got bored of doing it. I just like to sometimes do it. When I play F1, sometimes I just like to have it as my own me time. You know what I mean? Like, I like to play PlayStation when it's just me time. As such. So yeah, we're gonna end it there. So I've got to jump on another stream in 5 minutes. So yeah, make sure you do smash the like button. I'm hoping for a Hamilton win. Come on, Hamilton. Right, Lewis. Come on, my boy. Right, let's do this. Let's put this guy in his place. Right, and let's take this championship. Let's break Schumacher's record. Right, and let's make history. Right, the real history, the history you all want to see. But until then, everyone stay safe, stay well, and we will see you tomorrow for qualifying.